Forgot. I said I would. Thank you, Dr. D. Shout out to Dr. D. Make sure if you listen to this video later on, make sure you DM Dr. D a thank you because a brother definitely forgot to record. But I definitely just turned it on just now. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Let me turn the volume on just in case y'all talk or anything like that, right? So anyway, as I was explaining my process, what I like to do is instead of waiting on the Thursday heading into the Friday, I like to do after Wednesday close, right? 3 days into the week, kind of see how things are setting up. Potentially as a lotto. I know we think of lotto as just Fridays, but the lottos, in my opinion, I like it doing the lottos for like 2 days because, especially if it works out in your favor. Um, you can get in, you can, let it ride out, you can choose to swing it. You have more, in my opinion, more control, so to speak, in a market where really you don't really have control. And it's a little bit more stress-free, right? In that one day on Friday, you're hoping, you're nail biting, you're watching, you're hoping that the play turns out in your favor. When on if you get in on Thursday heading into Friday, especially if it's already in your favor on Thursday, then again, take your profits and then leave runners. Now, the idea of this is not meant to be like home run plays. Like I'm not expecting like 500% plays or whatever, but yeah, if it hits like a good 100%, 100% plus, then that's cool. Um, what I would suggest is with these plays, again, whatever it is that you're choosing to get into, for whatever it is that we look at, if you can do multiple contracts, go ahead and do so, and then secure your bag and then let runners run, right? I was able to be stress-free about Tesla today because I secured my bag within like the first 10 minutes of the market opening. I did completely clear myself off the table once I start Tesla starting to take the turn. I had a feeling it was going to turn, but I didn't want to enter into puts considering that I was going to have meetings the rest of the day. But it's good to see the confirmation in it, that Tesla turned out the way that it did. All right. So, um, gotta say, last week, although no guarantees for that, but last week the whole entire watch list pretty much hit. So let's see if we can, kind of get the majority of that going this week. If there's any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. This is also interactive. So if you have any tickers that you personally want to look at, go ahead and put it in the chat. We'll certainly look at it. We usually run this for about an hour, possibly an hour and a half. So there is time. If we get into it a little bit longer, then so be it. If the music is too loud, just please let me know. But I'm in a Marley vibe tonight, so kind of keeping things chill and just watching as things go. All right. So with that being said, again, while I'm going to go ahead and start pulling up some sectors, if there's any tickers that you want to, again, look at, please don't hesitate to put them in the list. I will just give you my honest opinion about it. Doesn't mean that I'm right or wrong. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm right or wrong, but just going to give you my honest opinion what I see in it. All right. So computer, we definitely going to look at Tesla for sure. I like, again, I am going to admit I'm a little biased there. Um, I had a feeling Tesla was going to reverse. And I'll explain why if anybody wants that explanation. But then also, I kind of like Tesla to maybe pull back to 235, but we'll see. We'll chart it out together for sure. Snow, I did, that was my first loss of the week. I'm not really tripping about it. It is what it is. I saw the setup when Sal alerted it, but I also saw the turn. So, and you know what it was? I didn't have my order block not scanner, the order block indicator on. Otherwise, I would have seen on, I think it was like on the 65, huge ass or bearish order block there. So it was, clearly reversing and rejecting off of that. So it is what it is. I'm not really tripping about it too much. All right. But yeah, I got you on that Tesla and Snow. We definitely gonna look at that. Before we do that, let me just quickly run through a couple of the sectors that I'm personally looking at. Um, and I saw it so far. Let me clean this up real quick. Let me clean up the fibs. There we go. Okay. So a lot of the sectors on the larger time frames, you're going to see that they look bullish, and obviously the majority of the larger time frames are still going to be bullish. But you also need to pay attention to the fact that, yeah, right now we kind of at the top of the range. This is not nothing new. I've been saying this for a minute now, like we're definitely at the top of the range. So what goes up must eventually come down. So I don't know. I know you guys have been mentioning AMD. I haven't personally taken a look at it. I don't know what the news is. So I'm going to say what I'm about to say next without having, um, seen what the news about AMD or anything is right now. So with the quarter right now, we definitely went 3 on the quarter to make a higher high. I believe that was actually all-time highs. So again, at a certain point, the bulls are just gonna, they're gonna take their profit. They're not gonna continue to buy, continuously. So when we see that 3 on the quarter, we see that higher high, we see all-time highs, and now we're seeing price come right back into the range and starting to exhaust right at the same levels. This candle, that candle, that candle, and that candle exhausted, right? It's right back into that very same range. So would not be surprised if we see a little bit more downside. Looking at the month, obviously the month is currently open. It hasn't closed yet. We're inside month, but when you look at over here, we did the run up, right? We got our pullback, and then, well, what was the objective here? The objective was to go TTO. Actually, let me zoom in so y'all can see what I'm talking about. The objective was the TTO back to the upside. This candle achieved its mission, right? It TTO back to the upside. It took out all former highs, made an all-time high, and then pulled right back in. So we'll see what happens after that. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised again if we see some sort of exhaustion, maybe even a pullback like what we see over here over the next 3 months on SMA. Now, as far as the hybrids are concerned, I was looking at the 2 week. I usually look at the 2 and the 3 week. Yes, I do look at the other hybrids, but mainly I'm looking at the 2 and the 3 week. And essentially same thing, right? We have the run up, we have a little bit of consolidation over here, right? We get the manipulation to the downside, and then it runs up to the upside, taking out the highs over here. So now that it's done that, again, strat wise, you can draw your broadening formation. We've hit the top, we've exhausted, and now we got 2-2 reversal. Not to mention that is a fair value gap right there. Right there, right? So, price action is currently in the fair value gap, fills the fair value gap at 150.54 on SMH. All right. Let me do something. All right, cool. Oh, damn, I thought we were going to have a small class tonight. And again, looking at the weekly is basically confirming the same things that we're seeing on the 2 week, just obviously in more candles, because obviously it's a week instead of 2 weeks. Currently in the fair value gap on the 2 week, then also right here, another fair value gap as well too, plus another fair value gap there as well. So a lot of liquidity to take out. I would suspect that if price is going to bounce, maybe bounce around this unicorn level right here, rejecting out of this fair value gap and then shortly bouncing up before maybe taking the next leg down. We'll see how that goes. But right now, for me, what I'm seeing, it looks like, again, we're at the top of the broadening formation. If you can't see it on the weekly, it's right here. Boom. That's the top of your weekly broadening formation. And here is your bottom of your weekly broadening formation. Actually, you could even do this one and over there, right? Right. So there's your broadening formation. Again, as you see, we're at the top. So looks like we just need to come back through the range. So there'll be an opportunity, in my opinion, for put. Again, 3 days pretty much showing exactly the same things. We went 3. Now we got the 3-2. So after the 3-day closes, this is a brand new not brand new, excuse me. This 3-day actually closes today. So tomorrow we're going to get a brand new 3-day. So we're looking for that 2-2 continuation. I'm not going to draw it, but that is also a fair value gap right there. From a strat perspective, this is actually a PMG setup to the downside, right? 5 or more candles were the high of each candle. is higher than that of the previous range. So each high is higher than that of the previous range. Not every single target would be taken out, but the next target to take out would be right here at 152.69 for this PMG to the downside. Now, price may actually just run through this fair value gap potentially and maybe end up in between these two fair value gaps. That might be a potential bounce. Let me just see. Yeah, right. That would be right around the OTE range too, in the 3-day as well too. So between, if it does, like if we do have that type of a drop, not saying we will, but if we do, that 144 level would be definitely something to look out for. All right. I'm not sure if somebody was trying to say something. Let me see the chat real quick. You can trade that to which one? SMH? Yeah, I know. So PMG setup, the candles do not need to all be the same. No, no. For a PMG setup, a PMG to the downside setup is 5 or more candles in consecutive order where the high is higher than that of the previous range. So basically, each candle's high has to be higher than the previous candle's high, right? So no, they don't have to be the same. One could be a shooter, the other one could be a full-bodied candle, the other one could be a hammer. It doesn't matter. As long as the high of each candle is higher than that of the previous range, that is a PMG to the downside. Now, on the flip side, a PMG to the upside is moving in a downtrend where each candle's low is lower than that of the previous range. Ford probably has some good examples of that because I know it had a drop as well. Yeah, and back to side. Yeah, I know I could trade SMH. I'm actually probably personally, I'm probably gonna look at Nvidia. See if I could go ahead and because I think that dropped as well today as well too. I think it was like 467, and then like I'm looking at it now, showing that it's back at 455. So there might be a good opportunity, especially from a lotto perspective. There probably is a good opportunity there, but we'll get to that. Anyway, that's the 3-day, and then like coming back to the daily. I'm sorry, let me check this. That's why AVGO gonna get some. Oh yes, I forgot you did text me that you're in AVGO, and that is in XLK, and I believe also, it's in what is it in? Is it in chips? Hold up. Actually, this is not that computer. I don't have the sector holding. Yes, I do. Hold up 1 second. I'm sorry, y'all. Sometimes my memory fails me. That's the reason why I made a sector holdings sheet just for this purpose. Where the hell are you? Sector. You should be able to take yourself off mute. You can't take yourself off mute? Hold up. Let me see security. Did I turn that off? Oh shit, I did. My bad. Go ahead. You could do it now. You should be able to do it now.
So AVGO is pretty much the spy of the chip sector overall, or of chip companies, whatever. Now I chose that 840 or 850. I forgot what it was. What I got in based off of that weekly chart and based on what it looked like it's doing, which is going two down or whatever. It has already started, going down the previous week, and I expect continuation to go down. And yeah, the price target, actually got a price target of 870, and after that the price target goes to 826.
Now,
Now that's not going all the way go down in 1 day or something like that, but well, then again, it can move $20 a day.
so yeah. What was I gonna say? I want to talk about. I know it wasn't fully recorded, but AVGO was something that we had talked about the last Lotto Wednesday. And look, I haven't touched this shit since Wednesday. Same levels are still being hit, right? We said that it might bounce off the between 910, 908. It did that, and then look, the next
That
leg
900
down,
is that 900 is a site level too.
right? So now it's giving you that two down, right? Filling this fair value gap, which will take it down to 887. And then yeah, if it keeps pushing, then yeah, we got the 871, and then yeah, like Sal said, the next one down is 827 right there. So definitely something. I think Sal had already entered into it, but yeah, definitely something to look out for. It can move. Um, I'm gonna give it to you both ways though, because it is a high ATR though. It can, yeah, you can get burned up real quick, but
Yeah,
I'll
because
say
this
light.
honestly, man, this ticker here, man, sometimes it could go up or down a few dollars, and you're gonna be down quite a bit. And that's when you're gonna know if you're in over your head as far as your portfolio, and I'm gonna say how much buying power you have. You know what I'm saying? Because if it go up $2-3, that's not gonna be no good feeling if you have a small portfolio. To be honest with you, but if you know how to buy it out the money, you'll be totally fine.
Right,
Which on this one I tried to, because as this ticket done gone up in premium, the price has gone up as well. Don't buy this shit in the money.
right. And then also, if you draw your fibs, right, from shout out to Biker, of course. If you draw your weekly fibs from the swing low up to the swing high, it has, I mean, it's currently below equilibrium, but if price continues pushing down, we can potentially see it again push down to the OTE levels right here, or maybe even possibly lower before bouncing. But even if it, let's say, it gets to that 871 or even that 856, would you get into 840s? Yeah, that's your pay then. You know what I'm saying? So if that's the way that it works out, so ABGO is
Now
going to be
tomorrow, now tomorrow also, when you start getting to the end of the week, the contracts get cheaper, and you can be able to grab more of them, or you just grab one of them, and she'll pay you, nice $300-$400.
there you go, right? So again, you're not looking to like completely kill it home run. If you get enough to get runners and they go home run, cool. But ain't nothing wrong with a quick $300-$400, in a day or two. You feel me? Especially if you really did no work for it, except for just, chart it out properly and did your thing. Now, with that being said, let me go ahead and move on over. Let me take this off of. So that's ABGO 840s, right? Next one that I wanted to look at was going to be NVIDIA, right? Again, so you're going to see on the larger time frames that, we still bullish, right? We went three, we're definitely bullish. But again, I got to talk to you about taking out all-time highs. Eventually, at some point, the bulls are going to stop buying and they're going to take their profit. So far, potentially, that may be what we're seeing here, right? Again, the month is currently inside, but we did the TTO just like what we did in SMH. So again, you see a very similar chart setup to what we saw to SMH, right? Here's your weekly, your 2 week or even weekly broad information. It's blue. So yeah, that's my weekly broad information. But again, same thing. We hit the top and then we coming back through. So we currently two down on the 2 week, and we are currently two down also on the weekly as well too. Um, Nice little run up the day before, but then today, right? It ran up and then immediately came right back through the range, almost went three. So I'm looking for on the daily, excuse me, sorry. I'm looking for on the daily for NVIDIA to, let me clear out the fibs a little bit so that, there we go. All right. So I'm looking for on the daily for NVIDIA to trigger. Oh, I forgot. I didn't turn back on the magnet. Right. So I'm looking for it to trigger daily entry. Daily entry would be 454, right? So as far as targets go, this is going to be your first target. I'm picking this one instead of this one because I know of NVIDIA's ATR. NVIDIA's ATR is $14. So obviously, if it's going to take out the low here, it's probably going to hit that target next, right? But 454, 450 is going to be your first target on the daily. Let me change that to daily mag, and then basically you kind of have just like a little bit like just targets to take out on the way down, and all of these targets could potentially get taken out, you know, pretty much in one shot. But the real big target that I'm looking for is down here, right? So this will be the completion of a fair value gap that I had drawn out as well down to 437. So what I would probably say is you can probably, if you want to still get something a little close to the money, I would say look at NVIDIA 445s or 440s. You just look at them right now. And even though it's a lotto, you can buy yourself time if you want, or obviously you can do, let me look at what it would look like for the end of the week, right? So the 445 is 165, right? Volumes 8,000 and open interest is 9,000. So 165 again, if it's a little expensive for your port, just grab one contract. If it triggers, grab the one contract. You know what I mean? Just call it a day after that. Or if you're feeling a little froggy, you can go after the 440, and maybe double up, right? If you want to. All right, if that triggers to the downside for NVIDIA. Again, it does move $14 a day. Obviously, not all 14 would happen, because if that happens tomorrow, then we're looking at already at 440. But if we can get a nice little $5 to $10 move to the downside, you should be pretty set on Thursday, riding into a potentially and hopefully a nice little pullback on Friday, continuation. You know what I mean? Let me stop here to see if there's anything written in chat. Oh, okay, my bad. AVGO, what contract date? I think it was for this week, right, Sal? I think.
No, I chose that for next week, bro.
Oh, there you go. I'm sorry, my bad. So the 840 for next week, Dr. D. All right. All right. So that's NVIDIA. But to be honest with you, the
Hey,
way
hold up,
that
hold up, hold up. At any point in time, if you come, you get 30-40% in contract in that in that, and you have one contract, please by all means take your gains. Don't give a shit what else to do. Just be like, hey, this is what I went for, and I got it. I'm satisfied with it. Don't worry about the potential gains that you could have made. You know what I'm saying? That's how you get the base hits, and that's how you truly compound your account. And also, it can save you from losses. Don't be greedy. The greedy man always get his ass got.
yeah, and to add to that, it's not the fact that traders don't make money in the market, it's that they get greedy and give it back. All right. You know what I'm saying? Like
Absolutely.
that's where your risk management comes into play. All right. Did somebody say something? Oh, okay, my bad. Okay. But yeah, what I was saying is with SMH, the way that SMH is looking, um, you could probably, I mean, we could take a quick glance at AMD, although that's not the one I'm targeting. And again, for anybody that just joined, if there's any tickers, I'm gonna get to Snow next, Computer Kid. But if there's any tickers that you want to look at, you can go ahead and drop them in as well too. Yeah, honestly, AMD is looking quite similar to NVIDIA and SMH. Yeah, I mean, it's not a surprise. The only difference is that AMD didn't take out all-time highs like NVIDIA and SMH did. But yeah, as far as the smaller time frames, the week, the 2 week, like you see in the top of the broad information, you see in the turn, PMG setup to the downside as well too on the week, and then also this is showing the week as well too. Um, Let me see. Yeah, so and then you got shooter vibes on the 2 day as well too. So yeah, I mean very, very similar setup that we seeing. All right. Sorry, let me see the chat real quick. Cost. Okay, yeah, we could take a look at cost. Um, yeah, I think I saw y'all had made some pretty nice money off of that one. All right, so let's go ahead and go to uh, uh, Tesla real quick. But just something I wanted to point out before we talk about Tesla. I'd actually looked at XLY and just some of my notes here. If anybody wants to, I guess look at them, or I mean, when you go through the video, you can certainly screenshot it. For XLY, the FTC is bullish. The quarter is a 2-2 rev down, but the current candle is a bullish hammer. Monthly bullish 2-2 up, price is coming back to levels where price exhausted in September. So on the monthly, make sure you look at that September candle because that's exactly where price exhausted before pivoting back to the downside. On the week, you got a PMG downside setup. So far, the week is exhausting, but obviously 2 days left in the week. And there was a fair value gap during the week of September 18th that was filled. It's possibly exhausting since filling that fair value gap. And there's also a FVG on XLY from 162 to 166, or if you're looking from the downside, 166 down to 162. The 3-day also has a PMG setup with the fair value and a gap fill. Daily setup for either a 2-2 up or a 3-2-2 rev strat to the downside. Gap fill below same levels as the weekly FVG, if I'm not mistaken. So with that being said, let's go take a look at Tesla. So with Tesla, I actually have a couple not fair value gaps, a couple fibs drawn out. But with the reason why I think Tesla is getting ready to drop, it's struggling around that range, that 250 range. Hold up. Let me see what the question is. Oh, Cat? Yeah, sure, I got you. No problem. All right. Hold up. Sorry. We got a couple different people I gotta mute real quick. All right, cool. Okay. Where was I? Oh, okay. So yeah, Tesla, right? So when I was looking at it on the week, I was noticing that, obviously this is consolidation, right? But price is finding a really hard ass time to stay above 240 levels. You know what I'm saying? Like it'll obviously run up and then immediately exhaust and come right back into the range. So today kind of saw the same thing. We ended up inside, but we are set up for a 212, potentially to the downside. I wouldn't mind though if Tesla runs up to maybe 250. I think that'll make the puts a little bit cheaper for the run down. It's actually kind of been, when you look at it on the 2 day, it's actually been kind of stuck in these levels, right? It doesn't want to drop down below to the 230s and potentially, I'm sorry, to the lower than 230s. Don't want to drop and stay there, but it also, when you look at it on the week, having a very hard time staying above 240. So right now we are set up for a potential 212 to the downside. Where was it that I was looking at from the fifth perspective? And there was a spot. Can't find it. I'll find it again and then I'll update it. But for Tesla, the way that Tesla is looking right now, I actually would not, like, when you look at it, yes, we've been making higher highs from here, but we're also making lower lows from here as well too. I would not mind Tesla after exhausting right around the same levels as the 2 up over there, or to come back and do a 212 back to the downside. If that does trigger, right, I like Tesla to come back to 235. Excuse me. I'm not saying it can't go lower than that, but I do like Tesla to come back to 235, potentially 230 by the end of the week. Basically come back to these levels here, right, where it's been bouncing before, right? So basically back to 235, 230 as a lotto. So I would say if you're looking at it for this week. All right, so 235 is asking 172. Volume on that is 54,000, right? The only other volume that's higher than that in the immediate vicinity is 240s. So, do with that information what you will. 15,000 on the open interest, and then the 230s are asking 67. Obviously, the further away, the more risk. I'm pretty sure that theta, you have to keep that in mind when it comes to Tesla because the theta is going to be high. Let's see. Yeah. So the theta is negative 53. on that. And then on the 235, the theta is, negative 100. So, you do want to be aware of that. But obviously, the closer to the strike, the closer strike would have the better opportunity of, being profitable, of course, right? So just throwing that out there. Let me see. Computer killed. Yep. So I assume that's maybe your bias as well too, right? So yeah, just paying attention to where price is doing, and how it's struggling. Um, it was a nice getting 2 rounds of calls off of Tesla. The first it was the 250s and then the 245s. Both paid very well, but you don't have to be married to the play. If you see things starting to reverse, um, then yeah, then you good, right? If your things are starting to reverse, then you just go with the flow. You don't necessarily have to like stay married into the play. Because yes, my 250s were for next week, but price action is king, so you got to pay attention. Don't stay stubborn to it. You feel me? All right, what next? Snow. Yeah, Snow was the only loss of this week. It's okay though. Um, Compared to the gains, I'm not really too mad about it. It is what it is, right? Um, it did look good at the time when I was looking at it. It did look like it wanted to get to the upside, but just lesson learned. Always have my indicators turned on to help me. And if I would have paid attention to the larger time frames, I would have seen this that price struggled in this very range weeks ago. Weeks ago. So I should have kind of seen and anticipated that happening. As a matter of fact, 192 is actually the top, right where we were targeting. So might be an opportunity to actually get some money back on the flip side with Snow. All right. So with that being said, we're just gonna focus mainly on like the 2 week and then also the weekly, right? Because right now the quarter is showing, bullishness. Yes, absolutely. I could agree with that. Quarter showing bullishness. From the quarter's perspective, we're at the lower part of the range. So there's definitely some more room to the upside. But when you look at the week and also the 2 week, yeah, we have something is wrong with my fridge, yo. I swear I don't tell her anything, but Alexa just told me, what do you want me to play? The hell is going on with my damn what? Anyway, um, I got ghosts in my damn kitchen. All right, so back to the week, right? So again, we're seeing just it's exhausting at the very same levels that it exhausted before. Obviously, strong resistance around these levels. Not to mention 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not 6, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's your PMG setup to the downside, right? So where could price return to? Potentially could come all the way back in, back down to at least the 0.382 level of 171, potentially on the weekly. Obviously, that's from a weekly standpoint. So that's more from a swing standpoint. But when you look at, let's go ahead and go into the 2 day, right? So the 2 day is double inside, and then this 2 day is currently ending as a shooter, right? So we get a new 2 day candle tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. So we're looking for that double inside potential to get broken to the downside, and so you do have some targets. 180s would be a target, and then also 175. Yeah, I would say 175 because there's a small little gap here on the daily. That could be potentially where it bounces. Um, I like the setup for Snow though. Like, yeah, it looks like there's a good opportunity, um, for some puts, in my opinion, right? There's a gap fill there as well too. And Snow does have a relatively high ATR, not comparable to like Tesla or Nvidia, but what's that, about $6 a day? So yeah, it's been consolidating, right? So with these last 3 candles on the day, so hopefully we can get that 122 rev strap back to the downside, and potentially get a snowfall. No pun intended. I know there's a show called Snowfall. No pun intended. But yeah, potentially, snow could fall down. That would be your entry. Daily entry would be at 184.40, right? And again, because of its ATR, I'm not really going to shoot for this target or that target. The first target I would probably, oh shit, my bad. First target that I would probably shoot for is going to be 180.80, right? And then next target would honestly probably be the end of the gap fill. Um, if you see it get into the gap fill and start rejecting and heading back up, take your profit, yo. For real shit. Don't remember this is a lotto. It's not meant for you to swing and wait it out, right? If you're getting something by the end of the week, you only got 2 days for it to make its move. So if you see it start rejecting out of this gap fill, then fuck it, just get out. Now, because there is a gap fill below a lower one, um, price may, or the algos or whoever the fuck, whatever, they may just shoot through this gap to reject at this one and then bounce up. We'll see though. Um, I would recommend though the 180. I know it's probably going to be more expensive. Either that or the 175s. Hey, make sure y'all mute yourselves though, because this is recorded, right? So you don't want none of your private conversations on recording. Yes, sir. Yep. All right. So yeah, computer. So I think you and I are on the same page on what we're seeing as well too, right? So um, again, it's 2 days. We're talking about $6, $6 ATR in 2 days. So potentially we could see, a potential $10 move over the next 2 days. Right now it's at 184. So yeah, is it legitimate that it can hit down to at least 175? Yeah. If price action deems it so, yeah, it could potentially get done there. All right. Snow is actually one, not as a revenge play. I know I lost money on it today, but when I look back again at the charts, I was like, oh shit, well, this is actually given a pretty decent put opportunity. So it's one that I have on my list for the lottos. Um, and I'll probably alert it if I take it. Getting confirmation on your trade is always, yeah, cool. No, I mean, yeah, like I said, here to help. It's really cool to see that I helped the money maker Roddy uh, make some money off of Nvidia. I wanted to be a part of his immaculate run right now. That man is on a run. I'm not even gonna lie, he is on a run. But yeah. So that's snow. I'm sorry. What else did we have? We had uh, cost and cap. Okay, cool. So again, for snow, 180s, 175s. My bad. I forgot to look at price. Snow. 180 for snow for the end of this week is 85. So actually, that's pretty damn cheap. Very, in that case, I would say it is small account friendly. I mean, unless you like add $100 in your account, then in which case, no, I would say don't touch. But if you feeling froggy, the 175s are really cheap. But again, that's that with that comes um, pretty serious risk. All right, because if it don't hit, you know what I'm saying? Bank robber Roddy. Yeah, I mean, hey, hats off, boy. Hats off. For real. Make that dough. Make that guap. All right. What was it cost, right? Mm-mm-mm-mm. Well, goddamn cost. Go ahead and make your run, baby. Jesus. Yikes, boy. Okay. Right. So cost is, oh yeah, that is all time. I mean, cost is approaching all-time highs. I know I said I was going to focus on the smaller, but I got to mention it, right? So cost is literally $5 away from hitting all-time highs. So I would expect, being so close, I would expect the bulls to probably really just take this above, take out this high at 612, push up a little higher, maybe not even a little higher. It can continue pushing it before exhausting. Um, so for me, I would say like if you're already in this bullish wise, uh, I'm not seeing unless somebody has a different perspective, other than the fact that, like for example, on the 2 week, right, it's right at the same highs where it exhausted. But other than that, um, yeah, I mean, solid bull candles, yo. I don't really see. I'm not seeing it ready to stop yet. I'm not seeing um like signs of exhaustion just yet, to be honest with you. The only thing I would say to, just be careful with is again that it's approaching all-time highs. We are at the top of the range, even though I didn't draw a broad information. We are definitely at the top of the range of a broad information. We haven't made a new one yet. Once we take out the 61227 high, that is going to be our new broad information. So yeah, if you're looking to get into it, I would probably say if it triggers the inside to the upside, maybe maybe target the 610, the 615. Um, 620 might be stretching it a little bit, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean, it's actionable signal on the daily. If that triggers to the upside, then yeah, I would say target that 610, target that 615. It does have a high ATR of $8 and change. So let me just see what the contracts even look like cost wise. No pun intended. Uh, so like the 610 is asking 234. Good volume, good open interest. 615 is asking 96. Um, yeah, I would. Yeah, honestly, if it were me, 610 or 615, I'm not really feeling. I wouldn't feel too comfortable with the 620. Does that mean cost is not going to get there? No, because cost can have a great run up. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm blind to that. You do have earnings coming up on the 14th as well too. So yeah, I mean, this would make sense. That earnings run up, um, possibly before maybe a pullback right before earnings or after earnings. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if cost takes out all-time highs, um, and maybe pushes up to that 615. If it does get to 620, all the better. But I would just feel more comfortable with that 615 range. I know some people are in 620s. I'm not knocking them. I mean, because I know costs can definitely run up to that for sure. All right. So if you're feeling froggy, 620s, little safe, 615, safer, 610 is probably what my recommendation would be for cost. If it does reverse, I mean, fuck it, then it reverses back to the downside. But like I said, looking at a lot of different time frames, shit, FTC is bullish. Um, I'm not really seeing any signs of exhaustion just yet. So, um, yeah, if it does exhaust, I would expect that to happen after it takes out the all-time highs. All right. So that's my 2 cents on that. If you're already in it, then yeah, just ride it out. You know what I'm saying? Um, if you are in it and you're up big, like it's okay if you take your profit. Real shit. If it runs up more, so what? You didn't leave money on the table. I know a lot of people say that, but you just secured the bag. That's it. Right? You secured the bag, you're not giving the funds back. It's really just that simple. Right? Not everybody always catches the very top, and not everybody always catches the very bottom. And honestly, that's how a lot of people get fucked up trying to catch the very top or trying to catch the very bottom. Like, yo, if you're at a good percentage, take that profit. There's going to be another money making opportunity. I guarantee it. I guarantee the market's going to give you another money making opportunity. All right. It's the beautiful thing about the market. Okay. So what was the next? Was it cat? Let me see. Cat. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So see this YOLO on. I don't really do YOLOs, homie. I don't really do the YOLOs, but I mean, there's a lot of good setups out there right now. You could pretty much YOLO. Now, I don't want to say anything, but like you could YOLO the Nvidia, you could YOLO the AVGO that Sal was talking about earlier. You could YOLO the Tesla that I just talked about. You could YOLO Snow. Um, I honestly haven't looked at Bitcoin, but we can take a look at coin. I really haven't looked at Bitcoin since this run up. Congratulations to any and everybody that got a piece of um, coin. Yo, if you can't afford coin, Riot and Mara will make you just as much money. And the beauty of it, they're cheap enough that you can grab multiple cons too. So if you can't do coin because it's too expensive, don't sleep on Riot and don't sleep on Mara. All right. Um, let's take a look at Cat first. So Cat is definitely, when did I draw this? I think I drew this on the monthly. Yeah. So Cat is above premium right now, right? Excuse me, Cat is above equilibrium at a premium right now, right? So um it's basically it gave the shooter vibes, right? It actually took out a level, I had a feeling it was going to head up above 260. It did that, and so now what it looks like is that it's exhausting a little bit, and then maybe pulling back for the next leg up, kind of like what it did over here, right? The run up, the pullback. So looking at the week, let me get rid of the fibs real quick for a second, right? So do I have you drawn? Oh, fair value gap on the month. Okay. Yeah. So it's in the fair value gap on a month, but it could just, kind of be rejecting that and coming back right back out of it. Seems like that's the next move. Seems like that's what it potentially is doing. Um, so shooter vibes so far on the 2 day, we do get a new 2 day candle. Week, not quite shooter vibes, just needs to get a little bit lower. And then, yeah, we got shooter vibes there. Definitely shooter vibes on the daily. So, yeah, right now I wouldn't be surprised if Cat pulls back. Um, if it does pull back, the targets that I would probably be looking at for Cat, although I normally do not short Cat, it's on my weird list. Like I've had I don't want to call it luck, but I haven't had much success shorting Cat, even when it's blatantly obvious or the setup is blatantly obvious that it should be shorted. I don't know. Bitch finds a way. Finds a way to run up. Hold up. I'm sorry. Let me see what's going on. Datadog. Okay. Yeah, we could look at Datadog too. Um, but yeah, if Cat, with the exhaustion that happened with Cat, if Cat does reject and I'm sorry, let me start off. If it heads to the upside, that would be above 261. It would need to travel $6 to trigger the day up. I'm gonna keep it a stack. If it does that, it's already exhausted its ATR. I really wouldn't jump into calls. I would probably leave it alone, and then possibly see what happens for Friday. But on the flip side, if it does take out 255 to the downside, based on its ATR, right? I'm not going to target these two as my first target. I'm probably going to be looking at the 251, 250 basically, right? Probably somewhere in between the 247 and the 250. I would probably target the 250 put. Um, if you're feeling froggy, maybe the 245, but I would probably feel more comfortable with the 250. Cat has nine, never short. Yeah, man, seriously, the kitty always finds a goddamn way. I mean, I remember the time that I shorted it at the time, it was shit, hold on, let me go back. How was I shorting it? At the time, it was up here, right? And when I tried to short it, bitch was still running. I'm like, motherfucker. Because like from my perspective, it had taken out the previous highs. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right, it's up there. All right, cool. And then it was hitting the top of a broad information at the time. Not on the quarter. It was something I had drawn a while back on a smaller time frame. And I'm like, okay, all right. I got into something 2 weeks out and she just kept fucking running. I'm like, good Lord. So yeah, I haven't had much success with shorting Cat, but I mean, shit, she looks good enough again to do so. Couple that with some of the notes that I have from XLI. Keeping it a stack, it is bullish except for the daily. Um, it is showing a two down bullish candle on the quarter as well too. So right now the higher time frames are still showing bullish. Um, right? It's bullish 2-2 up, potential TTO to the upside. If it does, 111.12 would take XLI back to all-time highs. It does have a fair value gap though from 107 down to 103, but it is still making higher lows. The 3-week is still 2-2 up, but not currently enforced. However, the 3-week candle did just open, so just keep a close eye on that. The weekly, the PMG downside setup, 2-2 up on the week, made a higher high from previous highs made on August 28th. And then I wrote, actually, I'm not going to talk about that because I am not quite there yet. I haven't studied it well enough to be able to teach it. So I'm going to stick to the strat. The 2 up on the daily, but it exhausted after making higher highs. So what we're looking at is a potential, oh, for XLY. What we're looking at is a potential 1-2 rev strat to the downside for XLI. So if that does happen for CAT, then yeah. If it does happen for XLI, then I would suspect that CAT would probably follow suit. Trigger the 255 down. Again, that's when I would probably take the 250s for CAT. Well, shit, since it's so cheap, in that case, I'd probably say the 252s. But the 250, for the end of the week would probably it would still do something. Yes, the volume and the open interest is not as large as some of the other Ferrari tickers we looked at, but could still definitely pay. If it drops down that low, I would probably say 252.5 or 250. If you're gonna go anything lower than that, you need to go to next week. You need to go to December 15th. Maybe OPEX will take it down lower. 245s for next week would be $74. All right. So that's my 2 cents on CAT. Let's go to coin real quick. No, nobody actually called out EMPH, to be honest with you. But yeah, we just certainly took a look at it. And if you want to take yourself off mute, Rose, you can talk about it as well if you like. Yeah. Well, I mean, looking at the quarter, so far, it's basically rejecting off of the 50% fib on the year, right? It touched and rejected off of that. But before we go there, let's just take a look at what is Bitcoin doing. What a run, though. Jesus, what a run. Well, looks like we're about to test an order block on the weekly. So we'll see what happens around that area. Potential to reverse around that area then. I don't think it was going to shoot straight up for that next target level, which is 47, 458 that I had marked out, which is um, a monthly and the next monthly and also the next quarterly target. So I didn't think it was going to do that. I had a feeling it might run up, hard, maybe to 45 grand. But yeah, I didn't think it was going to shoot all the way. If it does, then I stand corrected. But I didn't think it was going to shoot all the way up that high. And honestly, you wouldn't want it to run up like that because then, the fall down would. Whew. Anyway, looking at coin though, even though Bitcoin still looks a little bullish, looking at coin, I mean, the theme of the story is we made higher highs and now it looks like we're exhausting. Which in that case, if you can't afford coin, I'm kind of curious. A bit. Yeah. Hey, yo, okay. So I'm gonna put Riot on my radar then, right? Because that 14.5 or 14 put might do a little something, something as a swing, not as a lotto because this one will take a little bit of time being having a low ATR. But Yeah, definitely adding that to my swing watch list. Ooh, that'll be nice. Should come back down to 14.5, 14. That'll pay nice. So I'll keep that one in mind, yo. All right, so you definitely load the fucking boats on that, especially when Bitcoin. I mean, we know it's going to be inevitable, right? We know Bitcoin's eventually going to have a pullback, right? I hope y'all know that. So it's not going to be like this crazy run forever. So just be aware of that. Anybody still in it, take your profits where you see fit, let runners run. But if it does, it's already turning, right? You hit the top of a broad formation. It's already doing its turn, and you got the 2-2 reversal. If we trigger to the downside tomorrow, that's going to be your target, excuse me, your entry at 134.12. It does have a $7 ATR, so these would probably be my next two targets, the 125 and then 118 over the next 2 days. I probably would target the 125 though, to be honest with you, right? Bitcoin hasn't shown completely yet that it's ready to just exhaust and come back. But if it does, then yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that 125 hits for coin.
Man, pull up Upstart daily chart and look at that candle.
Shooter vibes. See, so like with Upstart on the higher time frames, obviously it's coming from the bottom of the range, but when you get run ups like this, like it's got to have a little bit of a pullback. Um, I mean, it's set up for a 1-2 rep strat. Honestly, I would not be surprised if it does that. Overall, long term, yeah, it's probably geared up to run. Because again, looking at the quarter, it's coming from lows, right? So, I could definitely see it bouncing and going up higher. But again, when you look at the run it's been making, it actually took out. Hold on, let me mark that out right here. Fuck, there, right? So you see how it's been struggling around like that range right there. It took that out this week. So after making that higher high, it wouldn't be surprising if, yeah, you get a little profit taken there, a little exhaustion, and potentially a pullback. So, with Upstart, you know, uh, that sets you up for a 1-2 rep strat. Your entry would be,
What's up, baby? Yeah, I was with my
yeah,
boots.
there you go. I told y'all need to check y'all shit before. Dude sound like he's sweat. What's up, baby? Sound like a 90s R&B commercial. R&B. Yeah. Yo. Oh man, you know what? It's never a dull day in Zamunda. I swear. I love it though. Um, but yeah, hopefully you seal that deal tonight, whoever that was. Anyway, yo, I swear to God, it was something straight out of like, I swear when he said it, immediately thought of Keith Sweat. If you don't know who that is, you're too young to be friends with me and get the fuck off the channel. Um, very white too. All right. Um, yeah. I'm sorry, Cash. If you don't know who the hell Keith Sweat is, you too young. We can't be friends. I'm sorry. I still mentor, but we can't be friends. All right. So yeah, basically, hitting the top of a broad information, bouncing off, potentially bouncing off. So I would like this back to maybe looking at the 30 put if it does trigger, right? If it triggers that 33.85, maybe the 30 put. And honestly, I wouldn't really treat this like a lotto. I might even swing this, right? Because you have like if it really wants to, get funky and drop, you got this nice little fair value gap that takes you sub 30 over here. So that'd be nice. Real shit. So yeah, I would probably treat that more as a swing rather than a lotto. Or maybe go into it with lotto intentions, but if it looks like a good swing setup, then maybe roll it into next week You know what I mean? You would be surprised, Cash, how many people don't know some of the people from the 90s, bro. You really would be surprised. Anyway, so that's that. Now coming back to Rose's end phase. Damn, is everything just pulling back? Jesus Christ. Man, I was rooting for end phase to finally just get the hell up off of that broad information. It did, but I mean, I was kind of
I think everything is pulling back. We've been on a run. It's
yeah,
been
we have.
bullish.
We have. If you look at SPY and the Qs, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But and then I think I had mentioned look at the VIX and look at what happens every time the VIX gets back down to that $12 range. So it just makes sense. This is why it's important, right? This is for anybody that's new. Don't really want to turn this into a teaching session, but anybody that's new, pay attention to sectors and tickers like that, right? That helps you see potentially what's going on with the market. Dollars going up, SPY usually moves inversely to that. VIX was at a low range of 12. Pay attention to those levels. When it gets to those lows, eventually at some point, not saying it's going to be immediate, but you should expect the move at some point back to the upside. And then VXX as well too, coming back from the lows. All right. What I'm seeing with end phase is that again, from the larger time frame standpoint, you're at the lower part of the broad information. However, the bounce off the broad information on the weekly, that's a big, not a big, but a pretty decent run up. We're talking from 82.22 all the way up to currently 111.75. And then if you pay attention,
Wait till this glass over with.
what was
Wait till this glass over with.
oh, that's up? That's probably talking to his son. But that like if you pay like I've been watching ICT, I can't fully explain it yet because again, still learning, but I've been paying attention to where the levels where like this was what was support on this side, right? Once we broke market structure, could be wrong on that. If you're an ICT person, don't kill me. But once we broke to the downside, now we're coming back up. We're exhausting off the same level that used to be support. So now it is resistance over here. At least that's the way it looks to me. Rose, if you have anything to add to that, you're welcome to take yourself off mic or put something in the chat. And then, actually, this is an old fib. Let me get rid of this real quick. So, and then looking at the daily again, we get our turn, right? We get our 2-2 reversal, potentially back to the downside. Not to mention, got a nice little small fair value gap right there as well too, from 106 down to 102. So, if we trigger to the downside with an ATR of $5.11, I mean, I could legitimately see it coming back to the $100 level. I would, and the reason why I'm saying that is because, these three candles kind of also exhausted over here. I think this is, I believe, and again, from an ICT standpoint, I believe this would be considered a volume imbalance. Could be wrong, but still learning. Don't kill me. But yeah, just basically you just see where these three candles have been wicking around this area. So that's why I probably would look at the 100 put for end phase if it triggers to the downside. So with that being said, if you want to, everything's gonna be all right. What was I saying? The 100. So if you do December 8th and it triggers, what was it? It would trigger 106.50. If you want to be entirely safe, then fine, go ahead and get the 105 because that 117 is not too expensive, right? If you feeling a little froggy, you can, maybe want to grab, multiple cons. You could go for that 23. That would truly be a lotto, right? Small price, load up on a couple of different cons, maybe grab about 5 cons, which would probably equate to that a little bit less than $125. And yeah, if those cons hit, then awesome.
What strike that is?
That's the 100 put for December 8th. But I would say again, because you're talking to a brother that likes Tom, I would say choose the 100 for 115. Better volume and better open interest. And Rose, I do agree with you about calls over the long term. Actually, 115 and 130 was probably one of the some of the targets I was looking at. So, again, this may just be the pullback for the next leg up, to be honest with you. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, because they're good. I mean, I assume you have January 19th, so I assume, not assume, I think, yeah, does it have potential to do that? Absolutely. I think this is probably just a pulling back for the next leg up. Let me see something here on the weekly, just curious. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so it's at premium on the weekly, but I mean, we're not really at OTE levels yet. So, I mean, yeah, it could make this small pullback maybe back to equilibrium before maybe pumping up a little bit higher. We'll see how that goes. Hoping it's TTO. Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes, right? Because again, remember the first thing I said, y'all, on the larger time frames, yeah, it's coming from lows. It's bouncing off the bottom of a broadening formation. So I would be in favor long term of going calls, right? As a matter of fact, if I don't play this for puts, I might keep this on watch to see where it bounces, and I might, maybe go look at something in March for a swing to the upside. All right, so let me see. Did I have anything else on my notes? Oh, okay, CIBR. So let me just take a look at that real quick. So CIBR, I think I covered everybody else's stickers though, right? No, I didn't. I did. We did coin, we did cat, we did infant. Yeah. So we good. And just to finish up, so looking at CIBR, which is cybersecurity sector, or if you don't like CIBR, you can look at bug as well too. This one is not, I'm gonna keep it a stack. It is not just strat that's making me think that we're getting a pullback. There are some ICT concepts in here that I've been learning. I'm very hesitant to teach it because again, I don't feel like I've mastered it enough to teach it. So from a strat standpoint, this is a PMG setup to the downside, plain and simple, right? It's actually it's a beautiful example of a PMG setup to the downside. There's actually a PMG setup to the downside on the 2-day as well too, right? And again, we do get a new candle. So we are looking for a 2-2 reversal on the 2-day. And that would also, excuse me, that would also set us up for a 1-2-2 rev strat to the downside on the daily as well too. Again, from the larger time frames, it is bullish, right? But obviously it's made a run, so it does have to, get some corrective activity at some point. Over here we saw the consolidation, and then we see the move to the upside. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we, after taking out this previous high over here, that we do get some exhaustion maybe before the next leg up, right? So with that being said, I haven't looked at them yet, but let's take a look at Palo Alto. So I would like, from a week standpoint, I would like for the week to come down a little bit lower for me to feel more comfortable about a reversal. And looking at the daily so far, it looks like we are potentially consolidating, right? But No, I can't say. Okay. I wouldn't be surprised though, because if we do have a PMG set up to the downside over here, I wouldn't be surprised if we get that 2-2 reversal to the downside. So if we do get that, right, their daily trigger would be 286.91. So you do have some targets. This one does move. It moves almost $10 a day. So you can target the 280, or if you want to target a little bit lower, definitely not there. That's 268. Honestly, then I would probably target the 280 or the 275 for Palo Alto, right? Again, long term, it is bullish, but I do also want to say it's at all-time highs. So again, when you're at all-time highs, in the words of Sarah Strat, nobody else for the bulls to go long against, right? For every buyer, there must be a seller, and vice versa. So I mean, essentially what you'll see is the buyers may just start taking their profit off the table, which is going to add to the selling pressure for Palo Alto, right? So, and we know it moves, we know it pays. We know it had a very nice run up over the past couple of weeks. So yeah, wouldn't be a bad thing if it starts coming back into the range for Palo Alto. So I would say looking at to wrap it up, let's see. Well, I mean, it's a $10 spread, but the 280 is asking 82 for the end of this week. Excuse me, for this week. So not bad, actually. Now, if you wanted to go anything lower than that, that's when I would recommend going to December 15th to be on the safe side, probably targeting the 275 or the 270 if you want to try to, if it looks like price is going to eat through that fair value gap that I don't currently have drawn down to 268.65. All right. The 270 is asking 99, so not too bad. Not too bad. Also, something to notate is the PMG setup to the downside over here on the 2-day as well too. So yeah, definitely some targets to take out. Definitely some liquidity voids to fill as well too along the way down, right? So yeah, that's Palo Alto. You could probably also look at Zscaler or Crowd as well too. Let's see. AMD. We looked briefly at AMD. I didn't call out any targets, but we did briefly look at AMD.
Okay, I must have missed it. All right.
Yeah. But Cash, you traded long enough that you can pick out your own
Yeah.
targets. Yeah.
I'm gonna look at it. I just wanted to
It
know if
looks. I know that y'all were talking about AMD earlier. I don't know if there was any news that came out about AMD.
there was, and it looks like it was dropping, but I'm gonna chart it tonight. But there was some news with Microsoft and I would say Oracle too.
Okay. So I would say as far as with AMD, at least from the chart standpoint, it looked very similar to SMH, except for that it didn't make all-time highs like SMH did and NVIDIA did. But I would not, I would not, I wouldn't say my bias would not be to the call side currently. If I really had to pick a bias, it wouldn't be to the call side. Zscaler, right? Struggling around this range right here. Let me turn extension off. Zscaler is struggling around that range, right? It's been consolidating, trying to push up. It's been failing and coming right back into this range. So right now we set up for a potential 2-2 reversal to the downside for Zscaler. If that does happen, Zscaler moves about almost $7. Honestly, I'd probably target that. This would be more of a swing for me if I were to take it, right? Let's see. Damn, so many good setups in the goddamn market. 197, I would probably target maybe the 185, just shortly above the 182. Let me see. What are we looking like for Zscaler? Oh no, hell no. I didn't realize it was so cheap. I mean, you know, in that case, I'm gonna give it time then, right? Because I don't really wanna. 197. See what's the targets here. Boom. That'll be 194. Well, I mean, if you're gonna do end of this week, maybe the 195s. Let me see, what's that worth? 195s or 192.5 for Z-scaler. If you're gonna do it as a lotto for the end of this week. And then shit, if it really does dump, like even better. Shit. All right, so that is pretty much it for me. If there are no other questions, concerns, or anything like that, I appreciate y'all spending the hour and 15 minutes with me. I genuinely hope that if you do take any one of these plays, that they genuinely make you money. I really do get more of a kick out of seeing other people make money off the plays. I just genuinely like helping people to make money, to be honest with you. So it was really cool seeing like Roddy talk about the NVIDIA. I was glad that he was able to make guap off of that. And yeah, let's continue to have a good week. Like it looks like most of us have had really good weeks. Let's not give the money back. Let's just, risk appropriately. And yeah, if we can flip $100 into like 300-400, then even better. All right. Just remember though, if you trade in with, we'll call it needed money. If you're trading with needed money, it's going to be very hard for you to not be emotional in your trading, right? So please risk appropriately. If every one of these tickers that we went over that you cannot risk appropriately in the trade, do not take it. Real shit. Don't take it. All right. I know like it seems, lovely to, oh man, if AVGO really gets there, I'll make a bag. But also, you don't want to blow your port either. You feel me? All right. Anyway, when the recording is done converting, I will post it probably tonight. I'm probably gonna stay up a little bit tonight, and yeah, we'll go from there. Y'all have a great night. Deuces, love, peace, and chicken grease, and yeah, see y'all tomorrow.